Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Love English Lab, the place where you learn to speak English naturally, confidently, and with real conversations that help you express yourself clearly. I'm Alex, and I'm really glad you're here with us today.
And I'm Charlotte. If you want to improve your English in a friendly, practical way, don't forget to subscribe and join our amazing community of learners from all around the world.
Today, we're talking about something extremely important in real-life communication: how to disagree politely in English.
Yes, disagreeing is something everyone has to do at some point. Maybe at work, maybe with a friend, maybe during a group discussion. But sometimes learners feel unsure because they don't want to sound rude or too direct.
Exactly. In many cultures, disagreeing directly is normal. But in English, especially in professional or social situations, people often soften their disagreement. They don't want to create tension or make the other person feel bad.
That's why native speakers use polite expressions, soft tones, and gentle structures when they disagree. They might not say, "You're wrong." Instead, they use phrases that feel respectful and calm.
Right? For example, instead of saying, "I don't agree," they might say, "I see your point, but," or "I'm not sure I completely agree."
Those phrases help you share your opinion without sounding aggressive. They keep the conversation friendly and comfortable.
And that's especially important in English-speaking workplaces. People value teamwork, communication, and emotional intelligence, not confrontation.
Yes, and even in informal situations with friends, polite disagreement shows respect. It helps you express yourself honestly while still protecting the relationship.
So in this lesson, we're going to explore how to disagree in a natural, confident, and polite way. We'll practice real conversations, useful expressions, and subtle tone changes that make a big difference.
We'll show you how to disagree gently, how to offer alternatives, how to correct someone politely, and how to express your opinion without sounding negative.
And we'll also talk about something very important: how to disagree without apologizing too much. Because confidence and politeness can exist at the same time.
Exactly. You don't have to say sorry 10 times. You only need the right phrases that show understanding and respect.
By the end of this episode, you'll be able to express your ideas clearly, disagree when necessary, and keep conversations positive and productive.
And you'll sound much more natural because this is exactly how native speakers communicate when they don't share the same opinion.
So if you've ever felt nervous about disagreeing in English, or if you want to improve your communication skills for work, friendships, or everyday conversations, this lesson will help you a lot.
Let's begin with one of the most useful skills: how to disagree gently without sounding negative or defensive.
Yes, that's the foundation of polite communication. So let's jump into Chapter 1. So Charlotte, let's start with the simplest and most useful way to disagree politely: softening your disagreement.
Yes. Many learners think that disagreeing means saying something strong like "you're wrong" or "that's not true." But in English, direct disagreement often sounds too sharp, even when you don't mean it that way.
Exactly. That's why native speakers almost always begin with a positive or neutral phrase before sharing their own opinion. It prepares the listener and keeps the conversation friendly.
One of the most common phrases is, "I see your point." It shows that you understand the other person's idea, even if you don't agree completely.
Yes. And you can follow it with something gentle like, "But I see it a little differently."
I love that one. It's calm, respectful, and very natural. It doesn't attack the other person's opinion. It simply invites another perspective.
Another really soft way to disagree is, "I get what you're saying, but..." This is friendly and shows empathy. You're saying, I hear you. I understand you. And here's my view.
Exactly. This kind of language keeps the conversation open instead of turning it into an argument. And that's the goal, to communicate, not to fight.
A great expression, especially in professional situations, is, I'm not sure I completely agree. It's polite, measured, and neutral.
Yes, it's perfect for meetings because it doesn't challenge anyone directly. It simply signals that you have another opinion to share.
Another gentle one is, I might see it differently. The word might softens everything. It makes your disagreement feel humble and balanced.
And sometimes native speakers start with something like, "That's an interesting point." It's a polite way to acknowledge the idea before offering another view.
Yes. For example, let's imagine someone says, I think everyone should work from the office every day. You could respond with, that's an interesting point. I might see it differently, though.
Exactly. That kind of answer keeps the conversation calm and invites dialogue instead of conflict.
And another powerful tool when disagreeing gently is using maybe or perhaps. These words make your disagreement feel cooperative. For example, maybe we could look at it from another angle.
Oh, yes. That one feels so natural. You're not saying the other person is wrong. You're suggesting another possibility.
And here's something many learners don't know. In English, tone can soften disagreement even more than words. If you speak calmly with a friendly voice, almost any phrase sounds polite.
That's true. For example, if you say, "I don't think that works," with a calm voice, it feels fine. But if you say it with tension or frustration, it suddenly sounds rude.
Exactly. Tone carries emotion, and English speakers pay a lot of attention to it.
Another phrase that softens disagreement is, "I'm not sure about that." It's not aggressive. It simply expresses doubt.
You can even add something gentle at the end, like, what do you think about? For example, I'm not sure about that. What do you think about trying a different approach?
I love that. You're not closing the conversation, you're opening it.
Yes. And I think that's the key difference. Polite disagreement feels like teamwork, not competition.
Exactly. And many learners don't realize that disagreeing gently actually makes you sound more confident, not less.
Right. Because confidence isn't about being loud or direct. It's about expressing your thoughts clearly while respecting others.
Let's give a few mini examples of gentle disagreement in real situations. For example, imagine a friend says, "I think learning English is all about memorizing vocabulary." A soft disagreement could be, "I see why you think that, but I'm not sure it's the only way."
Perfect. Or in a workplace situation. If a coworker says, we should send the email right now, you could respond with, I get your point. Maybe we should double-check the details first.
Yes, both examples show disagreement without tension.
Another one, someone says, the movie was terrible. You could respond with, really? I might see it differently. I actually enjoyed it.
That's a great one because it shows that polite disagreement also works in casual, friendly conversations.
Exactly. Disagreement is normal. The goal is to keep the conversation respectful.
So to recap, gentle disagreement uses softeners like, "I see your point, I get what you're saying, I might see it differently, maybe, I'm not sure, and that's an interesting point."
Yes. These phrases protect the relationship while allowing you to express your true opinion.
And in the next chapter, we'll explore something equally important: how to disagree by offering alternatives.
Yes. Because sometimes the best way to disagree is not by saying no, but by suggesting another option.
Let's move to that next.
Now that we've talked about soft, gentle disagreement, let's move to another powerful technique, disagreeing by offering alternatives.
Yes, this is one of the most effective ways to keep a conversation positive. Instead of saying, "That won't work," you suggest another idea. It feels collaborative instead of confrontational.
Exactly. In English, offering another option is almost like saying, "I hear you and I want to help find a solution." It turns disagreement into teamwork.
One of the most natural phrases is, "What if we tried?" It's soft, friendly, and keeps the conversation open.
Right. For example, if someone says, "Let's finish the project today," and you know it's not realistic, you can say, "What if we tried finishing the first part today and the rest tomorrow?"
That feels polite and productive. You're not rejecting the idea, you're improving it.
Another great phrase is, "Maybe we could consider another option." It's respectful and shows that you're thinking about the situation carefully.
Yes. Imagine your coworker says, "We should use this design for the presentation." You could respond, "Maybe we could consider another option that feels more modern." It's gentle and helpful.
Another useful expression is, "Have you thought about?" This one invites curiosity instead of criticism.
Exactly. For example, have you thought about sending it tomorrow instead? It might give us more time to review.
And something I personally use a lot is, "Another way to look at it is." This phrase helps shift the perspective without attacking the original idea.
Yes, it sounds very diplomatic. You might say, "Another way to look at it is that we need a bit more preparation before we move forward."
Or even, another idea could be, it's short, simple, and positive.
I love that. These expressions make it easy to disagree without blocking the conversation.
And here's something important. Offering alternatives shows emotional intelligence. It tells people you care about the outcome, not about being right.
True. It keeps the conversation focused on solutions rather than criticism.
There's also a more subtle phrase, "We could also." It's very neutral.
Yes, for example, "We could also wait to see the data before making a decision." It's gentle and logical.
And when you want to be extra polite, you can combine softeners with alternatives. Something like, "I see your point. What if we tried another approach?"
That's perfect for workplace communication. It shows respect and initiative at the same time.
Let's give a few real-life mini examples so learners can hear how this works naturally.
Good idea. Here's one. Someone says, "Let's buy the most expensive option. It's probably the best." A polite alternative could be, "I get what you mean. What if we looked at a few more options before deciding?"
That's great. Or imagine a friend says, "Let's meet at 6 a.m. to study." You could respond with, "I see the idea. Maybe we could start at 8 a.m. instead, so we're both more awake."
Exactly. You're still showing interest, just adjusting the plan.
Another example. Your teammate says, "We should use this long presentation for the meeting." You could reply, "Another way to look at it is that the shorter version might keep people more focused."
That's a very polite and strategic disagreement.
Yes. And notice something important. Offering alternatives gives the other person something to consider. You're not saying no, you're offering a yes, but in a better way.
And that's why native speakers love this technique. It feels constructive and respectful.
Sometimes you can even ask a question instead of making a direct statement. For example, "Do you think it might work better if..." This sounds gentle and cooperative.
I love that one. For example, "Do you think it might work better if we checked with the team first?" It's polite and professional.
And when you want to be very diplomatic, you can add small softeners like "a bit," "maybe," or possibly. For instance, maybe another option could work a bit better.
Yes, these little words make everything sound kinder.
So, disagreeing by offering alternatives helps you sound collaborative, confident, and respectful all at the same time.
And it reduces tension because it focuses on solutions, not problems.
Exactly. And in the next chapter, we'll talk about something extremely important: how to disagree with confidence without sounding defensive or apologizing too much.
Yes, because you can be polite and confident at the same time.
Let's go to chapter 3. Now let's talk about something essential: how to disagree confidently. Many learners think that being polite means being passive or not saying what they really think.
Yes, and that's not true at all. Politeness doesn't mean hiding your opinion. You can express yourself clearly and confidently without sounding aggressive.
Exactly. And confident disagreement actually makes conversations easier because people understand your point of view right away without confusion.
One of the best phrases for confident disagreement is, "I see it differently." It's calm, clear, and firm, but still polite.
Yes, it shows that you have your own perspective. And because it doesn't attack the other person, it keeps the conversation respectful.
Another strong but polite phrase is, "Here's how I see it." This one sounds confident and thoughtful.
I like that one too. It's perfect in meetings or discussions. You could say, "Here's how I see it. We need more time before launching the project."
Yes, and notice how it doesn't say anyone is wrong. It's simply sharing your view.
A very natural expression that native speakers use all the time is, "From my perspective." This phrase makes you sound balanced and reasonable.
Yes, it shows you're speaking from experience or observation, not emotion. For example, from my perspective, starting earlier could help us stay on track.
Exactly. And another great one is, "I believe." It shows confidence but stays polite. For example, "I believe this option might work better."
Yes, it's simple but powerful. It lets you express your opinion without sounding aggressive.
And here's something important: confident disagreement doesn't include too much apologizing. Many learners say, "I'm sorry, but," too often.
True. Using sorry occasionally is fine, but if you use it every time you express your opinion, it makes you sound insecure.
Exactly. Instead, you can replace it with phrases like "actually" or "I'd suggest." For example, instead of "sorry, but I don't agree," you could say, "Actually, I see it differently."
Yes, that sounds much more confident and natural.
Another strong expression is, "My concern is." This one is incredibly helpful because it explains your disagreement in a gentle, thoughtful way.
Yes. Imagine someone says, "Let's skip the final review." You could respond, "My concern is that we might miss something important."
Perfect. It shows confidence and clarity without sounding negative.
There's also, "I have a different point of view." This one is very respectful and clear.
Yes, it keeps the conversation open. You're not shutting anyone down, you're just adding your voice.
And sometimes you can be confident by using gentle certainty. For example, "I'm pretty sure," or "I'm confident that."
Yes. Like, "I'm pretty sure we need more data before making that decision." It's confident, but not aggressive.
And here's another important idea. Confident disagreement uses calm tone. When you speak slowly and clearly, you sound secure and respectful.
Yes. Speed creates tension. Calmness creates confidence.
Let's give a few examples of confident but polite disagreement in real situations.
Sure. Example 1. Someone says, "We don't need extra time for the project." You can respond with, "I see it differently. From my perspective, an extra day could improve the final result."
That sounds confident and professional.
Example 2. A friend says, "I think studying late at night is the best way." You could reply, "I believe mornings work better for me. I feel more focused."
That's respectful and honest.
Example 3. A coworker says, "Let's skip the meeting." You can say, "My concern is that we might miss important updates."
Yes, you're not rejecting the idea, you're explaining your reasoning.
Exactly. These phrases show strength without aggression.
And another important skill is expressing disagreement without using strong negative words like no, wrong, or that makes no sense.
Yes. Those words can make conversations uncomfortable very quickly.
Instead, you can redirect the conversation with something like, "Let me offer another perspective," or "I see your idea, but here's mine."
Those expressions help keep relationships positive, even when you disagree often.
And that's why this skill is so important. Confident disagreement helps you communicate honestly while still respecting the other person.
Yes. And in English-speaking cultures, people value confidence that feels calm and respectful, not aggressive or confrontational.
Exactly. And in the next chapter, we'll talk about how to disagree in more sensitive situations, moments when emotions might be stronger or when you need to be extra careful with your words.
Yes, because some disagreements need more emotional intelligence and softer language.
Let's explore that in Chapter 4.
Now let's look at one of the most challenging parts of communication, disagreeing in sensitive situations. These are moments when emotions are stronger or when the topic is personal, delicate, or meaningful to the other person.
Yes. And this is where many learners feel nervous because one wrong word can sound too direct or hurtful. But with the right expressions, you can disagree while still protecting the relationship.
Exactly. One of the best strategies in sensitive situations is to start with empathy. For example, "I understand why you feel that way." This shows that you're listening and respecting their feelings before sharing your own view.
I love that one. It creates emotional safety. And after showing empathy, you can gently add your disagreement. "I understand why you feel that way. I see it a little differently, though."
Yes, it's calm, respectful, and patient. Another useful phrase is, "I get where you're coming from." This is very natural in English and shows that you're trying to understand the person's perspective.
And when the topic is very emotional, you can use soft openers like, "I hear you," or "I know this is important to you." These phrases help the other person feel supported, not attacked.
Exactly, and here's something important. How you frame your disagreement matters a lot. Instead of saying, "You're wrong," you can focus on your own point of view with something like, "The way I see it is," or "From my experience."
Yes, these expressions make the conversation less about who is right and more about sharing different perspectives.
And in sensitive situations, you can also use gentle conditional phrases. For example, "I might be wrong, but," or "maybe I'm misunderstanding, but." These phrases show humility without erasing your opinion.
Right. They soften the disagreement and make the other person feel more comfortable responding.
Another very effective phrase is, "Can I share another perspective?" You're not pushing your opinion, you're asking permission to offer it.
Yes. That small question makes a huge difference. It shows respect and gives the other person space to say yes or no.
And there are moments when it's best to disagree slowly and carefully. For example, when a friend is upset or frustrated, you can say something like, "I know this is stressful, and I understand why you feel this way. I just see the situation a bit differently."
That's perfect. You're validating their emotion while also staying true to your own thoughts.
And here's a helpful phrase when someone's idea might lead to a problem. My worry is, it expresses concern, not judgment.
Yes. For example, my worry is that this decision might create more stress later. It feels protective, not aggressive.
Another expression that works well in emotional conversations is, I want to be honest with you. It shows transparency and builds trust.
That's true. And when you say it calmly, the other person becomes more open to hearing what you think.
Let's give some real examples so learners can understand how this works naturally.
Sure. Example 1. A friend says, I'm thinking about quitting my job right now. You can say, I hear you. I know this has been a tough time. My worry is that quitting suddenly might put more pressure on you later.
That's excellent, empathetic, caring, and honest. Example 2. Someone says, I think your friend was being rude on purpose. You can respond, I understand why it felt that way. Maybe there's another explanation we haven't seen yet.
Yes, that helps calm the situation while still offering another point of view.
Example 3. A family member says, I want you to follow this plan exactly the way I suggested. You could say, I get where you're coming from, and I appreciate your advice. I see things a little differently, though.
That's respectful and mature. It keeps the relationship strong while protecting your independence.
In sensitive situations, another helpful technique is to focus on we instead of you. For example, maybe we can look at this another way. Instead of, you should look at it differently.
Oh yes, that small change creates a sense of unity. It makes the conversation feel cooperative, not confrontational.
And in very emotional moments, silence can also help. Taking a small pause before responding shows that you're thinking carefully and respecting the situation.
Yes. Silence isn't a problem, it's a sign of maturity and emotional control.
Another strategy is to use positive language even when you disagree. For example, there's something I appreciate about your idea, and then add your point.
Yes. It keeps the tone calm and kind.
So the key idea here is, in sensitive situations, disagree gently, start with empathy, focus on your perspective instead of blaming, and use soft, caring expressions.
Exactly. And in the next chapter, we'll talk about something very practical: how to disagree in professional settings, especially in meetings, teamwork, and workplace discussions.
Yes, because workplace disagreement requires a special balance of clarity, confidence, and politeness.
Let's move to Chapter 5.
Now let's talk about disagreeing in one of the most important places, the workplace. Meetings, teamwork, group decisions. These situations require clarity and politeness.
Yes, disagreeing at work can feel intimidating, especially in English. You want to sound confident, but also respectful and professional. And the good news is that English has many expressions that help you do both.
Exactly. In professional settings, the goal is not to win the conversation, but to collaborate, solve problems, and share ideas productively.
One of the most useful phrases at work is, I see your point. It's respectful, neutral, and shows that you're listening.
Yes. And after that, you can add your opinion politely. I see your point. My concern is, or I see your point. Another option could be,
Those combinations are extremely common in meetings. They help you express your viewpoint without interrupting or sounding aggressive.
another essential workplace phrase is, I'd like to offer another perspective. It's confident and professional. You're not rejecting the idea, you're expanding the discussion.
Right? And it's perfect when you want to express disagreement respectfully in front of other team members.
A very natural expression is, I'm not sure that will work as expected. It sounds thoughtful and careful, not confrontational.
Yes, and it invites discussion instead of shutting down the idea.
Another great phrase is, maybe we could look at this from another angle. It's soft, open, and very collaborative.
I love that one. It shows creativity and teamwork. You're not just saying no, you're helping the team improve the plan.
And here's a powerful but polite workplace expression. I think we may need more information before moving forward.
Oh, yes, that one works in almost any situation where a decision feels rushed. It's calm, logical, and professional.
And it's not personal. You're talking about the situation, not the person.
Exactly. Another phrase that's perfect for meetings is, can we explore a different approach? It's polite and invites collaboration.
Yes. And sometimes, in workplace environments, it helps to express disagreement by focusing on goals. For example, to reach our goal, we might need a different strategy.
That's a great one. When you focus on the shared objective, your disagreement feels constructive, not personal.
And here's something important. In professional contexts, you should avoid phrases that sound too direct, like, that's wrong, I disagree with you, or you're mistaken. These can create tension or even conflict.
Exactly. Instead, you can say, I'm not fully convinced yet, or I have a different view on this.
These phrases sound professional and balanced.
And when someone proposes an idea that won't work for practical reasons, you can use soft logic. The challenge with that approach is, this is a gentle way to express a problem.
Yes. For example, the challenge with that approach is the time it would require. You're explaining your reasoning without attacking the idea.
Another technique that works incredibly well is asking strategic questions. For example, have we considered the risks? Or what would be the impact on our deadline?
Those questions guide the team to think more carefully without directly saying, this is wrong.
And when you want to respect the other person's idea but still disagree, you can use, that's interesting. I think we might get better results with.
Yes, it's optimistic and solution-oriented, perfect for teamwork.
Let's give some quick workplace examples to make this more real. Example 1. Let's finish the project this week.
I see your point. My concern is that we may not have enough time for quality checks. Great example. Example 2.
We should go with the first design.
Maybe we could look at this from another angle. The second design might connect better with the audience.
Exactly. Example 3. Let's skip the final review.
The challenge with that approach is that we risk missing important details. These responses are polite, confident, and very natural in professional communication.
Yes, and they help you build strong relationships with coworkers because you communicate respectfully even when you disagree.
In English-speaking workplaces, people really appreciate when you express disagreement clearly but calmly. They see it as a sign of professionalism.
And they also appreciate when you focus on solutions, not problems. That's why offering alternatives or asking thoughtful questions is so effective.
So remember, polite disagreement at work is about teamwork, respect, and clarity, not about being silent or avoiding conflict.
Exactly. And now that we've covered all the main ways to disagree politely, gently, with alternatives, confidently, and in sensitive situations, it's time for our final reflection.
Yes. Let's bring everything together and reflect on how this skill can improve not only your English, but your communication in life.
Let's go to the final reflection.
You know, Charlotte, after exploring all these strategies, soft disagreement, offering alternatives, using confident but polite language, and handling emotional or sensitive moments, I'm realizing something important.
What's that?
Disagreeing politely isn't just an English skill, it's a life skill. It changes the way you communicate with everyone around you.
That's so true. When you learn how to disagree without sounding aggressive, you become someone people trust, someone they actually want to talk to.
Exactly. You stop thinking of disagreements as conflicts and start seeing them as conversations.
Yes, and I think that's one of the biggest misunderstandings for English learners. They think disagreement means confrontation. But in English, disagreement is simply part of communication.
Right. English gives you tools to protect relationships while still expressing your ideas honestly.
And that's powerful. Because once you learn these tools, I see your point. Another option might be, I'm not sure about that. From my perspective, you realize you don't have to choose between being honest and being kind.
You can be both.
Exactly. And I think learners often worry about sounding rude without meaning to.
Oh, all the time. Many languages use direct structures that, when translated into English, sound too strong.
Yes, but the moment you switch to softer, more collaborative English expressions, everything changes. Your message stays the same, but the feeling becomes warm, respectful, and open.
And that's the goal. Not winning, not proving someone wrong, just communicating with clarity and respect.
I love that. Because good communication builds connection, even when you disagree.
And disagreeing politely can actually make people respect you more. They see that you think for yourself, but you also care about maintaining harmony.
Exactly. And it reduces unnecessary conflict. Instead of emotional reactions, you create thoughtful discussions.
So true. And something else happens too. You start feeling more confident.
Yes. Because you know you can handle any conversation, even difficult ones.
You're no longer afraid of saying the wrong thing. You have a toolbox of expressions that guide you.
And with practice, these expressions become natural. They become part of your voice.
And the best part? These skills help in every language, not just English.
Absolutely. They teach you emotional intelligence, patience, and empathy, qualities that make every relationship stronger.
So to everyone listening, remember this. Disagreeing does not mean fighting. Disagreement can be polite, respectful, and even warm.
Yes. And the more you practice these expressions, the more natural they'll feel. Use them at work, with friends, in online chats, or even when watching debates or discussions.
Practice by imagining small everyday situations, choosing a restaurant, discussing plans, reviewing ideas at work. Replace direct no with the soft tools we taught you.
And little by little, you'll notice the difference. People respond better. Conversations feel smoother. You sound more natural.
And most importantly, you feel more confident.
Because you're not just learning English, you're learning how to build connection with your words.
That's the heart of communication.
And that's what we hope you take from today's episode.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Keep practicing, keep learning, and keep speaking with kindness and clarity.
See you in the next lesson.
Take care, everyone.